You may have heard of Lumi Whole Body Deodorant for pits, privates, and beyond. But did you know they just dropped their first whole body deo spray? As a special offer for listeners, new customers get 15% off all Lumi products with our exclusive code. And if you combine the 15% off with the already discounted starter pack, that equals over 40% off their starter pack. Use code RATCHET15 for 15% off your first purchase at lumideodorant.com. That's code RATCHET15 at LUMEDEODORANT.com. Let's be honest, there are so many out there. And it's like dating. You never really know what you're going to get, but you hope it's something tasty. I can confidently say, since trying Home Chef, I have never been more satisfied. For a limited time, Home Chef is offering my listeners 18 free meals plus free dessert for life. And of course, free shipping on your first box. Go to homechef.com/ratchet. That's homechef.com/ratchet for 18 free meals and free dessert for life. Homechef.com/ratchet. Must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert.
Okay, so true story, I was scared to try tampons because I didn't know if they'd be able to protect like pads. Took me a few tries, but once inserted properly, tampons shouldn't hurt. If you feel it, it's not in far enough. Believe me, it changed my life. Like pads, tampons offer up to 100% leak-free protection, whether you're on the go or chilling at home. Now, I do and wear whatever I want on my period, thanks to the freedom and flexibility I get with adding Tampax to my routine. Learn more at Tampax.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and those who don't identify as either, you are listening to Ratchet and Respectable. Oh my God, I'm like a day late. I'm recording this at 6 a.m. on Wednesday morning. I could not pull it together yesterday. I had too much ambition for the day. I told you Mom was coming to South Africa. She's here. But I had to switch apartments yesterday morning, and then I had to run some errands to prepare for her to arrive and then leave for the airport to go pick her up. And there was just no time in the day to sit down and do the podcast. I mean, technically, I guess I could have made time. But Mom arrived and we had to get her settled, and then she wanted food. So we went to dinner last night at this really, really cute place, Bungalow. It's right on, well, it's not right on the water, but it's very close to the water, but it has these amazing sunset views. Mom, I let her face the sunset. My back was to it. But behind her, because like Cape Town is just views on views on views, there's an amazing mountain and then also like a mountain range. Cape Town got so much beauty. And just as the sun was setting behind me, the moon was rising behind Mom. I got pictures of all of it. You know, I like to document my life. But really cute restaurant. Service was just okay yesterday. I've been there when it's better. But the food, absolutely amazing. Mom got lobster, and then the bill came. She was like, this is it? And I was like, what you thought it was going to cost? And she was like, this is cheap. And I was like, this is Cape Town. I was like, plus, you know, we're right on the water, so seafood isn't the commodity that it might be other places. But yeah. But yeah, fun times with Mom. She's going to be here for a few weeks. So I'm looking forward to spending time with her. We have much terrain to cover today. Not a lot, but significant enough stories. Some people have just been showing their whole natural ass, figuratively, thankfully. Well, BET Hip Hop Awards, literally. I didn't actually watch the awards. Even if I was home, I wouldn't have watched the awards. I haven't watched the BET Hip Hop Awards in years. I catch the clips online. I see who performed, and then I go look up the full version on YouTube if it's not on my Instagram. Trina performed. I love me some Trina. I love me some Trina from way back. I mean, I guess Trina's biggest hits were way back, but that's not the point. The point is I love me some Trina. And she performed. She looked great. The thighs were thigh. The face card doesn't decline. The hair was laid. She looked really, really cute. She did a good job. I was watching her perform, and this is no shade because I would be about the same. And I was like, sis is like, either you're going to get these lyrics with this breath control or you're going to get dancing. You can't get both at the same time. It's going to be one or the other. She turned around and gave us a little shake at one point, but otherwise she gave us all the lyrics with enunciation and breath control. And I was like, it's hard. We are people of a certain age. It's hard to give you both at the same time. You're going to choose one or the other. There are very few people who can still do both. Beyonce, Usher, One went on tour last year with a bad knee. Usher had to delay his tour because of a crook in his neck. I'm saying we are people of a certain age. We doing what we can do. But no, Trina was really good. The dancers were good. The dancers were oddly dressed. It's like they spent all the budget, which in fairness, if the budget is limited, then the money should be spent on the star of the show. Trina looked amazing. She had on denim rhinestone, jumpsuit, hot pants, romper, whatever you want to call it. It was adorable. She had over the knee denim boots. She looked really, really cute. Her dancers, you could tell they were just like, how much we got left? We got $100 for everybody? But figure something out. The dancing was great. The outfits, I would have liked to see cuter looks, but the main attraction, the Trina, was lovely. And then Young Miami came out at the end. Trina was doing fine, and the dancers were doing what they could. But because she wasn't dancing, it was a bit of low energy. Like the cameraman did the best that he could. Like he was flipping from Trina into the crowd. The crowd was super hype. But then Young Miami came out at the end and gave a much needed burst of energy. But she came out half dressed. She did a split on the stage and then twerked. And I was like, okay, girl, okay. She turned around and shook her ass multiple times. It was a cute little Dade County moment. I don't know how I feel about Young Miami right now. She hasn't been accused of being involved in any of the Diddy shenanigans. I saw the interview that she did on her show with Saucy Santana, and he asked her, what happened with you and Diddy? And she was like, nope, I have nothing to report. That's not where our energy was. That's not how he treated me. He acted up with all these people, and he ain't act up with you? Okay, maybe, possibly. I wasn't there. I don't know. What did I say on a previous episode? I think we're talking about Jay-Z and Foxy. I was like, people keep trying to put Foxy's name in some mess with Jay-Z. And she was like, no, nothing happened. I want no parts. That has nothing to do with me. And I was like, you know what? Leave Foxy alone. Carisha says that nothing happened. I will take my own advice. I will leave Carisha alone. Next topic. Victoria's Secret had a fashion show. I woke up at 3 o'clock this morning. I also went to bed at like 10 o'clock, so I can't really complain. But I woke up and my entire timeline was Tyra Banks walking in the Victoria's Secret fashion show, which they're back. I don't think they've had the fashion show for a really long time. It was cute enough. I think I'm just used to like more razzle dazzle. Let's start with Tyra. She looks fine. Tyra Banks is iconic to me. So when Tyra shows up, I'm like, oh, Tyra. I was excited to see her. I thought her look on the runway was just okay. Like she had big Diana Ross hair and then she has like this flowing cape. It looked like they were trying to cover her up. She's not the size she was when she was 20 something on the cover of Sports Illustrated, nor should she be expected to be 30 years later at 50 something. Now, Naomi is about the same size, but that's Naomi. That's a whole different body than Tyra. Like they had her in these leggings and they had her in the corset and then she's got the cape and then she's like strategically like whipping the cape around like for dramatic effect. And I was like, it just seemed like they were trying to like hide her. And I was like, we can see that she's fuller and she's still fine. Like she's a beautiful woman at any size. Her curves come in at all the right places. Nobody was mad at it. I mean, actually, that's not true. Some people in the comments were very mad at it. That's what we're about to talk about. But I was like, why are they trying to cover her up? And then as many people pointed out, they were like, why she got a cape on? Like, it's the Victoria's Secret fashion show. It's Tyra Banks. She comes out at the end as like, the star of the show. Where that woman's wings at? And I was like, well, maybe they didn't do, nope, 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 nope. They had other folks in wings. I was like, she didn't get no wings? Where are her wings? What's the other girl? Gigi had it? I saw her. She had on pink wings. And her wings, like they started small and then like they rose as she was going up the runway. Like she had big old gigantic angel wings. And I was like, where's Tyra's angel wings? I want to see Tyra in wings. Don't bring out the Tyra and then cover her up. Like she's a gorgeous woman. Let her be free. Folks in the comments were none too kind to Tyra. I like Tyra. I lean toward defending Tyra, but also some things are kind of indefensible. And I was reading through the comments and I was like, yeah, well, points have been made. Ooh, that ouch, ouch. Ooh, but yeah, points have been made. The overall response, not on Tyra's page, all her comments are very lovely and supportive. Her social media manager is working overtime. God bless that person. Tyra did America's Next Top Model forever and a day. And particularly in the early years, she was none too kind to aspiring models who didn't fit a very narrow definition of what a model was supposed to look like. and she was very unkind to women. I would say anybody over a size 4. I saw a clip of Top Model the other day, and one of the very first, like, quote unquote, plus size women on the show was Takara. Remember Takara? And she kind of tortured that girl, like constantly referring to her weight, how big she was, how plus size she was, how overweight she was. Going back and looking at pictures of Takara, that girl wasn't hardly no kinds of fat or even plus size. I mean, plus size for the modeling industry at that time, at this current time, would not be considered the size of a plus size model. Mid-size, I guess, is probably what she'd be compared to, but she's much closer to thin than she is to anything else, to any other descriptor. She just had a whole lot of boobies. But Tyra and America's Next Top Model were relentless in their critique. Critique makes it sound like it was something better than it was. Criticism, unfair criticism, mean criticism of plus size models. Calling them plus size doesn't even feel right to me. Because looking back, most of them weren't plus size, but women who didn't fit the aesthetic of the time of what a model or a supermodel was supposed to look like. They were very cruel. And not just about plus size people. Across the board, it was pretty bad when you go back and look at it. So when Tyra walked the runway last night, many people pointed out that she wouldn't meet her own standards as a model. The kindest of people said, what if people came back to you and treated you now the way that you treated women who look like current you back then? Which, it's a fair critique, I think. I didn't see anything wrong with the way Tyra looked. I didn't like the way she was dressed. I didn't like the way she was styled. But as a face, as a body, she looked great. Thicker than what she was. But again, 30 years later, and still, it could be 3 years later, she still looks amazing. And not amazing for 50. She looks amazing, full stop, period. But the critique is fair. You would have been very, very unkind to you. And I hope that, your current shape, your current size has given you reflection on how you treated people back in the day. And you realize like how fucked up that was, which I thought was fair. I was like, it's Tyra, not too much on Tyra, not too much on Tyra. But also like, damn. What I saw of the show was cute enough, the official version. It just, you know how I like to see a good budget, and I like to see a good budget well spent? It didn't give good budget well spent to me. And again, I didn't watch the whole show. Oh, do we need to circle back to the BET Awards? There were other people that performed besides Trina and Carisha. Honestly, half of them, because I went on the BET page, half of them, I didn't know who they were. I was like, Lil who? I don't know, and don't care, and have no desire to know. I haven't known who over half of the performers at the BET Awards, at the BET Hip Hop Awards in years. And don't want to know. Don't care to know. You don't want to know either. You don't care. But Fat Joe also performed. I think he opened the show. And then Flage. That's the WNBA player. I love her. Travis Scott. I do know who that is. E40 performed. I didn't recognize the song, but I recognize him. And then 2 Chainz. And I was like, where you been? 2 Chainz? 4 Bracelet. I ain't seen him in a minute. Welcome back. Stay a while. He performed. The feminist in me should be outraged by this song. All I want for my birthday is a big booty hoe. I'm like, I sang along. I knew all the lyrics. It's such a dumb song. I love it. You may have heard of Lumi Whole Body Deodorant for pits, privates, and beyond. But did you know they just dropped their first whole body deo spray? It's the same outrageous 72-hour odor control that's earned them more than 300,000 five-star reviews, but in a brand new, easy to apply spray. Here's 3 more super cool things about it. Like all of Lumi's best-selling deos, this spray is powered by innovative pH-optimized technology that stops odor before it starts, rather than simply covering odor up with fragrance. Its water-based formula contains way less alcohol than the competition. They use enough for a quick dry, and that's it. Which is why in clinical trials, 0 participants experienced any burning or irritation. And the canister is designed for effortless 360-degree application, meaning you can turn it upside down to spray those hard to reach spots below the belt. I use Lumi for all of those reasons. And I love their variety of fresh, bright scents, like clean tangerine or my current favorite, lavender sage. Also, I love the toasted coconut. Lumi Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, two free products of your choice, like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get 15% off all Lumi products with our exclusive code. And if you combine the 15% off with the already discounted starter pack, that equals over 40% off their starter pack. Use code RATCHET15 for 15% off your first purchase at lumideodorant.com. That's code RATCHET15 at LUMEDEODORANT.com. I feel like I have tried every meal kit delivery service in the world. Literally. Let's be honest, there are so many out there. And it's like dating. You never really know what you're going to get, but you hope it's something tasty. I can confidently say, since trying Home Chef, I have never been more satisfied. Home Chef provides fresh ingredients and chef-designed recipes, conveniently delivered to your doorstep to simplify your cooking experience. Now, whether you prefer classic meal kits with pre-portioned ingredients and easy instructions, or speedy recipes ready in less than 30 minutes, or maybe oven-ready kits with pre-chopped ingredients, or quick microwave meals that assemble in minutes, whatever you're into, Home Chef has you and the entire family covered for delicious meals without the hassle. Home Chef has over 30 options a week and serves a variety of dietary needs, so you don't have to worry about what to make ahead of time. And my favorite part, not only is it convenient, but economical too. Home Chef customers save an average of $86 per month on groceries. I love that. For a limited time, Home Chef is offering my listeners 18 free meals plus free dessert for life. And of course, free shipping on your first box. Go to homechef.com/ratchet. That's homechef.com/ratchet for 18 free meals and free dessert for life. Homechef.com/ratchet. Must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert. Let me see what else is on our list. I think we're in good black news. Let's stay in good black news for a minute. Meg Thee Stallion, she has a documentary coming out October 31st. I want to say it's on Amazon. I'm reading on Variety. Let me double check. Yes, Amazon MGM Studios. Feature-length documentary titled Megan Thee Stallion, in Her Words, captures an inside look at the three-time Grammy-winning artist, philanthropist, and entrepreneur with, quote, unprecedented access to the multifaceted woman behind the persona. She's had a really She had a lot of ups and downs in her life. I mean, I guess everybody does. But like her mother passed away, her grandmother passed away. I'm assuming her father is deceased as well. She's always referred to as an orphan. So, and then the back and forth with her label, and then Tory Lanez, and then, there's a lot. There's a lot to cover there. This is a more in-depth synopsis. I'm reading further down on Variety. Follow the Houston native's journey on the road to stardom as she tenaciously navigates fame, grief, pressure, and success. The documentary unpacks Megan's most vulnerable moments in a powerful way that allows fans to meet the real Megan Pete. A good writer wrote that. And then the article goes on to talk about Megan's 50 million career highlights. Good for her. I like Meg, cousin Meg. In not so good black news, remember Ananda Lewis? She was a VJ on MTV. I mean, this was eons ago. I'm sure she's done 50 million things since then. But the articles I've been seeing about her keep referring to her as former MTV VJ. She had announced back in 2020. I don't remember this. I guess there was so much going on in 2020, though. But she revealed that she had been diagnosed with breast cancer. It said in a candid Instagram post, Lewis admitted she had avoided mammograms for years, fearing the effects of radiation exposure. So fast forward to 2024, she just did this sit down on CNN. She says her cancer, unfortunately, has progressed. She was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. She said she believed her body could heal itself, and she decided to approach her treatment naturally and focus on eliminating toxins. Let me scroll over to People because they also have a story about this. It's an interesting headline. Former MTV VJ Ananda Lewis says her cancer has spread after she decided to, quote, keep my tumor. The former talk show host reflected on her decision to go against her doctor's recommendation for a mastectomy after her 2020 breast cancer diagnosis. She says, quote, I thought I had this. She said, my plan at first was to get out excessive toxins in my body. I felt like my body is intelligent. I know that to be true. Our bodies are brilliantly made. I decided to keep my tumor and try to work it out of my body a different way. So she had tried homeopathic remedies as well as medication, and she did do radiation. And she also tried better sleep and diet. It says while Lewis improved for a while, last year the MTV alum discovered her cancer had spread. She said, my lymph system really flared up. It was the first time I ever had a conversation with death. I was just like, fudge, man. Just say fuck. You talking about cancer? Just drop that bomb. She said, I thought I really had this. I was frustrated. I was a little angry at myself. And I said, man, listen, she's speaking to death. I know you're coming for me at some point, but I don't want it to be now. And if you could just wait, I promise when you do come, I'm going to make it fun for you. She said, I literally had that conversation laying in my bed. I couldn't get out of bed for like 8 weeks. And of her decision, because I know you, like me, are wondering, like, girl, why? Why wouldn't you get the double mastectomy? Why didn't you follow doctor's orders? She says, quote, my quality of life was very important to me. I want to be here. So I had to do it a certain way for me. Okay. And the reason I'm saying okay is not to be dismissive. We've talked on here before, probably not as much as we should have, about women's reproductive care, women's health care, how our country is not trying to legislate it, but has legislated women's access to basic health care. When I talk about abortion, when I talk about women's health care, my go-to line is like, your body, your choice. That applies here to Ananda and her choice not to follow doctors' recommendations, not to get the treatment that they wanted to provide her, not to get the double mastectomy. Me, I would have done it. But her, she didn't want to do it. And it's not my body. It's not my choice. Her body, her choice. And I hope that she gets to live and not face the full consequences of not following doctor's recommendations. I mean, I think you can hear from some of the things that she says that she has some regret about that. She didn't think that her cancer was going to progress. And I'm like, girl, what? But I also get the idea of having a health diagnosis that is completely overwhelming, and probably to cope with it in some way, you go into a sense of denial about how bad it is. Because I hear stage 3 cancer and I'm like, oh, girl, what? Like, get all the treatment, get all the radiation. They got to cut off the boobs and cut them out and go get a new set. Like, I know a couple people that had breast cancer and that was how they dealt with it. I can't tell the difference. I mean, maybe you could tell, but you're alive to be able to tell. It sounds like she's having moments of reflection now. I hope that she makes a choice to get medical treatment and that it is effective. I feel bad for her. I know there's always a subsection of people and it's like, well, girl, like you didn't get the help that you got. Like, what did you think was going to happen? Yeah. I know. I get it. I understand that mindset. And still, I hope she's okay. I've had a couple friends go through breast cancer and one, it was quote unquote just stage 1. They caught it early, but she still had to do chemo and she had to pay like $7,000 for like some special cold cap to make sure she kept her hair when she was going through chemo. She still lost a significant amount of hair. She was carrying the hair that had fallen out in a Ziploc bag in her purse. And she pulled it out one day and showed it to me. And I think she had wrapped her cancer treatment at that time. And I was like, oh, friend is still not okay. Physically, health-wise, so she wasn't going to treatments anymore. She was feeling good. She was out and about. But I was deeply concerned for her state of mind because I was like, oh, friend is doing weird shit and don't realize it's weird. We got to keep an eye on friend. Long illness, long sickness, long treatment. The physical is just part of it. The psychological warfare of being sick, I don't think people talk about that enough. I hope she's going to be okay.
Everyone's favorite is back. Keke Palmer's podcast is back, and it's too good. She has questions for days, and now she's diving into the brains of entertainment's best and brightest to get some answers. From Snoop Dogg to Jordan Peele to Quinta Brunson to John Stamos to Amy Poehler, Keke is getting to the bottom of the burning questions that keep us up at night. I can't wait to listen to her episode with Quinta Brunson. If you love Keke, you'll love Baby, This is Keke Palmer. She's her most authentic self, going all in on everything in her life and in the lives of her celebrity guests. Follow, watch, and listen to Baby, This is Keke Palmer on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. And now watch full episodes on Keke's own YouTube channel. Listen to Baby, This is Keke Palmer early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus. I know that none of you watch porn, but just in case you have any friends that do, help me pass along this important PSA. Incognito mode does not make you incognito. Check the fine print. All your late night activities are still 100% visible to a ton of third parties, unless you use ExpressVPN. Protect your online privacy today by visiting expressvpn.com/ratchet. That's expressvpn.com/ratchet. And you can get an extra 3 months free. expressvpn.com/ratchet.
Okay, so true story, I was scared to try tampons because I didn't know if they'd be able to protect like pads. Took me a few tries, but once inserted properly, tampons shouldn't hurt. If you feel it, it's not in far enough. Believe me, it changed my life. Like pads, tampons offer up to 100% leak-free protection, whether you're on the go or chilling at home. Now, I do and wear whatever I want on my period, thanks to the freedom and flexibility I get with adding Tampax to my routine. Learn more at Tampax.com.
Jesus. Let's talk about some dumb, petty shit. Kayla Nicole. I have no idea what this woman does other than being known as Travis Kelce's ex. They dated a while ago. They've been broken up for quite some time. Travis Kelce, as I think we probably all know, is now dating Taylor Swift. There were a couple women in between his breakup with Kayla Nicole and then getting with Taylor Swift. Nevertheless, she was the most popular ex-girlfriend before Taylor Swift. So when he started dating Taylor Swift, even though, to my knowledge, until this interview, she's said nothing about the man. She's not been shady about him or Taylor or anything like that. Taylor Swift fans, which there's like millions of them. The Swifties, they up there with like the Beehive and what are Nicki's people? The Barbs. They're crazy like that. But they have been attacking this woman ever since Travis Kelce has been dating Taylor Swift, or at least since they found out about it. The woman, to my knowledge, has not done anything to antagonize them. She, I think at one point asked them to stop, and it just kind of made it worse. So she does this interview on Angel Reese's podcast. Angel asked her, there were rumors that when Travis and Kayla broke up, that it was because he asked her to go 50-50 or something like that. In her response to Angel, she was like, do I look like a 50-50 chick to you? No problem. I didn't watch the full interview and am never going to. Just, it's not fair. I really care about. The thing that really stood out to me, though, is the part of the interview that's been making the rounds. I don't know what question led to it, but Kayla decides to tell this story, and she doesn't name names, but she tells this story about this NBA player that she dated, and then he broke up with her, dumped her via text, just out of the blue, and then very shortly after emerged with this actress singer, and she says, quote, who was popular at the time. Jab, jab. And then she goes on to say that after he started dating the woman, she dressed up as the woman for Halloween. I was like, Black Jesus himself could not get me to confess that to anybody but my therapist. Girl, you did what? The man dumped you, and then for Halloween, you dressed up like his new girlfriend. What? Friend, sis, niece, I don't know how old she is. You need help. That's crazy, sis. That's crazy. That's on some Beyonce Lemonade type shit. Like, girl. The internet does what it does, goes all through her pictures and everything and figures out that the guy she's talking about is Iman Shumpert. And then the woman, obviously, is his ex-wife, Teyana Taylor. And then they find the pictures of her dressed as Teyana from, oh, what was the Kanye song she did? And Tiana's been popular since she was on Sweet 16, but that just launched her into the stratosphere after the Kanye video dropped. I can't remember the name of it for anything. I can picture it, but it's Tiana's outfit from that video when she's laying on the floor and there's that really big gap between like the bottom of her back and her booty because she got a big old booty even though she's really, really tiny. So she did that pose and that outfit and she looked really good. Still, Jesus himself could not get me to confess that to anybody but my therapist. So the internet figures out who it is. And Teyana Taylor, who I would not say that she's not popular right now. I would say that she just went through a divorce and she's got 2 young kids. I would guess that she's probably focused on getting her babies in order to make sure they're not traumatized from this divorce. I would guess that she's working on something because she's always working on something. The only time there's really been quote and unquote lulls is when she's practicing and preparing for the next tour, the next album, the next whatever, or she's shooting for the next film. I would definitely not say that she's not popular. Also, to my knowledge, and I don't follow her on Instagram. I'm not super up to date on her right now. But to my knowledge, she's not messy. From what I remember when I was researching her for a story, she'll pop off every now and again about like industry shit and the way she's treated, which there's a degree of fairness in her criticisms. But like every once in a while, she'll pop off like that. But like even when she was going through the divorce with Iman, she filed the divorce either under initials or an alias because she wasn't trying to have folks in the business. He went and filed his documents under the government names, and that's how the whole story came out. But even when they were going through the divorce and the separation, she wasn't going around doing interviews and such about it. Everything we know about the messiness of their divorce is either shit Iman did or shit that was in court documents, which are public documents. And maybe she's had messy times, but overall, I don't know her to be a messy sort of person. So people go figure out that Kayla Nicole dressed up as Teyana. And then Teyana responds because she's kind of like, I'm over here minding my business, raising my babies, working on my project. And then here you got me involved in some drama that obviously I didn't ask to be a part of. So she responded on Instagram. She wrote, it's really crazy that everyone is allowed to bother me and be distasteful. Everybody gets to play while I move with grace always. She said her issue is not anything that Kayla said about her ex-husband. She says, as they are obviously divorced, she said of Kayla Nicole, she knew exactly what she was doing. That lady said she was famous at the time. It was very distasteful and uncalled for. Most importantly, she knew people would dig, so automatically my name is attached to nonsense. Well, yeah, she did. It was messy. It was for sure messy. She was popular at the time. Your issue is with Iman. It's not even digs at him. It's digs at his ex-wife. She didn't do anything to you. You didn't say that she did anything to you. Like your version of events is like you were dating this guy and he broke up with you and then he started showing up places with this new woman. I don't even know that she knew about you. Did she? Kayla Nicole doesn't imply that she did, but I was like, yo, if you got beef with Iman, take digs at Iman. He dumped you via text. You feel a way about it? It's grimy. I can understand. If his ex-wife didn't do shit to you. I'm not pro or con Teyana, but I'm just like, I'm coming at his wife for what? She ain't do it. He did it. And then you dressed up as the lady and then told people about it. There's some shit you could just take to your grave. So after she told this story and it blows up and Teyana responds, Kayla Nicole responds back, not directly to Teyana, but just to the situation at hand. She says, quote, I'm trying to continue to have the courage to stand in my power, to be myself, to answer questions honestly and transparently. And then she continued, every comment or DM doesn't deserve a response. I know you want to be in your truth era, and I respect that. I do. I'm kind of in mine right now, too. If I might make a suggestion, be truthful with your therapist. Be truthful in like the family group chat or like the girls group chat, the DM. Be truthful with your bestie. This need to be completely truthful and completely transparent and completely honest with a microphone in front of you is not always in your best interest. Because like before this interview, I was like, this poor girl, the Swifties keep attacking her. She's not even doing anything. It's like, I feel so bad for this girl. And now after this interview, I'm like, girl, why? This is one of those cases where keeping your mouth shut, keeping a low profile did better for you than an interview. It happens. It's happened to me. You can recover. Just, be truthful with your therapist. Therapy, not podcasts. Therapy. Last but not least, I don't even really want to talk about this. And I'm not going to go read the story so we can do the quotes and blah, 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 blah. Darius cooks. He is a chef. He is a foodie. He does reviews. He does dinner parties. He has his own line of cookware. I'm not a follower of his. Unfortunately, I mostly know his name from being involved in controversies, oftentimes blasting Black women. Recently, I don't know what prompted this. He went off on Tabitha Brown about her business sense. Target Tabitha, vegan Tabitha, Tabitha who don't bother nobody Tabitha, which I was like, where is this coming from? Because it was such like a vicious, I was going to use the word critique, but again, that makes it sound cleaner than what it was, but it's just really an attack. Tabitha has this deal with Target where she sells all sorts of things, jewelry and accessories to food, to clothes, beach towels. I have a pin that is in the shape of her head and afro because when her first line came out in Target, I didn't log on to Target fast enough. And I was like, oh, it's not going to sell out. I don't know what time it dropped, but I think I showed up on the site 2 hours later and all that was left was like the little pin I bought. And I wanted to buy something. I wanted to support Tabitha at Target. I literally just bought the pen. And because that's all that was there. To my knowledge, all her stuff at Target sells out pretty quickly. When I'm home, there's no Targets on the continent or Europe. So when I'm home, and I live in a Black area, I go to the Targets. And when Tabitha has drops, they're beautiful displays. I love Tabitha. I'm not running to Target at opening to get your stuff. I'll go on the website, sis. I love you. I buy the books. I'm not going to Target to fight with other women, Black and otherwise, to buy your products. I love you, sis. I'm not fighting at Target over you, though. There's women who do it, though. My understanding of Tabitha's Target deal is that it's quite successful. She's had several rounds of products. Each one, she releases more and more products. If it wasn't selling, they wouldn't still be investing in her. She wouldn't have the big ass displays at all the Targets. I wouldn't be going on the Target website and not being able to get nothing more than a pen because everything else is gone in a couple hours. In fact, the biggest criticism that I've heard of Tabitha and Target is that there's not enough shit. Folks is like ready to fight over these. I've never seen one in person. I've only seen them online. There's a cutting board in the shape of an afro pick. I don't know if hers has a fist. Does it? It's in the shape of an afro pick. And everybody and their mama seems to want this cutting board. There are not enough of them. Hopefully Target will re-release them. But the biggest criticism I've seen is people are like, I went to the store wanting X and it was gone. I went on the site wanting X and it was gone. Target got to make some more ish. Darius, in his video, had a different understanding. I watched the whole video that he did, and his criticism was that instead of partnering with Target and getting paid, I think he said she makes like 3 or 4 million, that Tabitha should be selling her own merchandise. The million people who are buying something from Target, if they were buying that from her instead, that would be, I don't remember how he came to the number of 52 million. I'm not sure how he arrived at that number, but he was saying that's the amount that would be in Tabitha's pocket as opposed to being in Target's pocket. Maybe it's the air fryers. I think that's what he was talking about. I think the air fryers go for around $50. And he said if people were buying those directly from her, that would be 50 some odd million dollars in her pocket as opposed to what's going to Target. And then she only gets like the $3-4 million from basically a licensing deal. Couple things. Can somebody send me Tabitha's contract? Like, is it posted online somewhere? Did she post it somewhere? If you have a copy of Tabitha's contract, can you send it to me? Because apparently Darius does. And so I would just like to see what he saw so I can read it for myself. Whenever there's a big document, when there's anything with like the lawsuits or something like that, with something there's a lot of public interest in, I like to have the document and I like to go through it and read for myself because Because sometimes with Rolling Stone reports or Billboard or Variety, they don't pick up on details that I would pick up on that we would be interested in when we actually read the documents. Remember I read Praz's lawsuit about Lauryn Hill and he refers to Wyclef as Lauryn Hill's husband? I still ain't seen no media outlet talking about that. And I was like, I need to know, like, when were they married? Where did this come from? Things like that. So I like to read the documents. So apparently the document must be circulating. Darius has access to it. I would like to read it. Have you seen the document? The contract that she has with Target? I don't know anybody else that's seen it other than Tabitha, Target, and Darius. If he could forward it over to me, I would love to see it. Because I'm just like, you're very specific about, she's getting paid X and she's getting paid Y. And I'm like, literally, unless you have her contract, which I seriously doubt that you do, how do you know what her numbers are? He goes on to say during his rant, he was like, Target offered me, I wouldn't take it. Did Target offer you? Maybe they did. And maybe what Target offered you, like that's what you're basing your numbers on. He has like somewhere around like 600,000 followers. Tabitha has somewhere around like 4.4 million, 4.5. Both clearly very successful, both bigger following than mine. With the contract that they offer you with your numbers and your following, it's going to be much different than the contract they offer her with her numbers and her following, seeing as how it's roughly like, I don't know, 6.5, 7 times greater than your following. So maybe they would have offered you 3 or 4 million, and maybe they offer her something different. I don't know because I don't have access to the contract. I've also never been offered a Target deal, but just what I know about the deals that I have been offered, people with one following get one contract. People with another following do a different contract. One of the claims that he makes for Tabitha, he says, if 1 million people bought these air fryers, then she would have made XYZ amount of dollars. From the little bit that I do know about business, about selling things, like I have a merch line, I do know a little something about like conversions. Tabitha has 4.4 million followers online. 1 million of those people, 1/4 of her people, are not going to buy an air fryer. So the idea that like, oh, she could like based on her following alone, she could have sold 1 million air fryers and she would have made like 50 some odd $1 million. No, that's not how it works. No one has a 25% conversion rate. Also, it would have been 50 some odd $1 million gross, but you have to subtract like all the things that would have had to go into the business, like the manufacturing, the shipping of the product, the branding of the product, the marketing of the product, the employees to run this whole merch line. You got to store this stuff somewhere, a warehouse. It's not like she would just be making like a straight 52 mil. Also, yes, if Tabitha did what Darius is recommending, she owned the whole thing. Yes, she would make a whole bunch more money doing that than if she had a partnership with Target. She would also be doing a whole lot more work. Maybe that's work that she doesn't want to do. I just sell t-shirts. I own my t-shirt line. It was much easier for me when I was partnering with Mess in a Bottle. Shout out to my girl Kayla for the first round of t-shirts that we did. Don't waste your WAP. When I was doing the marketing and Kayla was doing the printing and the shipping and all the back end stuff. Much, much easier. Not quite as lucrative, but much, much easier. There's a reason a whole bunch of people that could make their own shit don't. I have a book publishing company. It was much, much easier when I was working with Simon & Schuster and they were doing the sales and distribution for Bell in Brooklyn. The book just magically appeared in all the bookstores. When I did book signings, the books just magically appeared on a display. All I had to do was sit down inside the books. I didn't have to ship them. I didn't have to carry them. I didn't have to do the swipes of the cards or keep cash on hand to sell the books. I just showed up, signed some books, and went on home. Quote unquote, all I had to do was marketing and press. Okay, much, much easier. With Don't Waste Your Pretty, I made a shit ton more money on it, but I also did a shit ton more work on it, and I damn near sold my soul to get that book promoted. To do over, I wouldn't do that. There's pros and cons. Because you choose to do it one way at the level that you're at, doesn't mean it makes sense for Tabitha to do it a different way at the level that she's at. I will also point out, again, from what I know of Darius, and I went on his Instagram, his passion is food. Everything that he does revolves around food. Again, the cooking of food, dinner parties with food. He sells pots and pans and cookware and everything like that. Like, that's his thing, it's food. That's one of Tabitha's things. She does the foodie stuff, but she also does like a children's show. And then she also does books that are motivational books. There are recipe books. She also does acting. She also does hair products. That's 5 different things just off the top. And I'm sure if I sat here and thought about it a little more, I could probably think of some more stuff that she's into. If she was doing her own product sales, it would monopolize her time. Maybe she don't want to do that. It's not like she still ain't getting a good bag. We don't even know what the bag is. He's throwing out numbers like 3-4 mil. It could be much higher. It could be much lower. I have no idea. But the lady ain't broke. I've been to the house. I seen the cars in the driveway before the Target deals. She all right, bruh. You ain't got to be worried about this lady's ends and dividends. She good. If it sounds like I'm defending Tabitha, I absolutely am. She's a sweet lady in real life. I saw her at the White House a couple weeks ago. When I tell you everybody and their mama was at that thing, the White House brunch for CBC weekend, it was 1,000 Black people. It was like every Black person you've ever seen in either your Instagram feed or your TV screen. Insane. She was the first person I saw when I walked in. It looked like she was walking to the bar. I don't think she drank though. She might have been going to get some food. But she was sweet as always. The same disposition that you see online, that's how she is in real life. She's genuinely a nice person. She ain't deserved that from Darius. And also, too, I wouldn't even do this as a segment if it was just a conversation about business. He talked about he doesn't like the way that she does her business. And then multiple times he called her a fool, which I just thought was so unnecessary, especially for somebody like her. And actually, I feel like he did it. Actually, I'm pretty sure he did it just because attacking her gets his name out in the zeitgeist. Nobody was really talking about him before that. He's got a large following on his page. His followers, I'm sure, were engaged, but like, were people really like talking about him? Was anything being said about him? No. But then he attacks Tabitha, and now I'm talking about him on the podcast. People are talking about him on various gossip sites. People are talking about him in threads and Facebook statuses. There are people who believe that all press is good press. He's clearly one of those people. And Tabitha responded to him about like how she did Wendy. And people been warning him. They were like, bruh, you know, the last person that went at Tab, things didn't end well. People directly correlate Wendy Williams' downfall to Tabitha Brown. But she gave Darius, she responded about exactly like I thought she would. I didn't know what she was going to say. I kind of figured if she did respond, the kind of energy that she would give. She did a whole video. I watched it. I'm just going to give you the summary that she posted on her page. She said, some folk only got the nerve to talk junk. And that's why your success, i.e. her success, gets on their nerves. She said, for the folks that do all that cutting up, imagine if you had the nerve to heal, to love, to befriend, to spread joy, to pursue your passion, to be positive, to just be intentionally good. Wow, what a beautiful life you would have. I pray that for you because even you are worthy. I love that she stays in character. And I don't mean characters in something that she's fronting. I mean characters and she's a woman of good character and she don't let nobody bring her out of it. This and Wendy, these are two occasions that if she flipped out and cursed folks out, it wouldn't change the way nobody thought about her. Be like, well, everybody has their moments. Well, he had it coming. Don't start none, won't be none. He fucked around, he found out. People would understand. I respect that she stays in her good character. I really do. I wonder if she'd be cussing and fussing behind the scenes, though. I want to see the text between her and her daughter and then her and her daddy. And you think she'd be keeping it cute in her safe spaces? She got to vent somewhere. She got to. I hope she do. I hope she be cussing folks out good. All right. That's the episode. I am out until, I think I'm back November 1st. If I'm not, look for me on social and I'll give you an update on the return date. Okay? Talk soon or not. Talk in November and you guys be good. And if you're not, just don't post that shit online or do any podcast interviews about it. All right.